The four revolutions, the four cycles in the relationship with it. Now, what is it? It is a pattern of energy. It is our sense of reality, the fullness of our sensory, mental, emotional experience. And the first orbit, the first pass in our relationship with it is one of survival. Can we survive our infancy, our childhood? If our parents walk away and there's no giant to take care of us, we're dead. If our parents are there and an earthquake or any number of things happen, we're dead. The first revolution with it is one of innocence and one of survival. And the response, gravitating towards the negative, is often trauma, fear, and with it helplessness, and with it hatred. Now this leads to the second revolution around it, this energy exchange between the limited self, the I that we identify with, the pattern of thinking, feeling, speaking, doing, and being, the physical body, and the larger ecology that we are born out of and return to. And the next revolution, the next wave of relating to it, is one of antithesis, one of rebellion, one of the critic. Once we get far enough away from it to be able to safely rebel, that's exactly what we do. And we do that by articulating all the many faults, the imbalances, the inconsistencies, the lack of attunement, the hypocrisy, the lies, with the first relationship, right? We wake up from the innocence of childhood and realize the unfairness, the asymmetry, the cruelty, the sociopathic nature of what is. And this provides vision. This provides vision and clarity for what is the third revolution. And the third revolution is one of triumph, mastery, adulthood, and a measurement of growth and progress. Meaning as we move from the helplessness of child to the outrage, to the criticism, to the hatred, to the I'm going to have revenge, I'm going to show you, that's not fair, that's not how I'm going to do it, of adolescence, that shapes the direction, right? We want to have revenge against this. We want to be able to stay up all night. We want to be able to, be measured based on our true value, etc., rather than the politics of the situation. So we then develop. We must develop skills. The child, the adolescent, has no skill, no competency. And so in order to pursue what at first is often an adolescent agenda, be it revenge or something else, we must develop skills. We must learn to speak. In an unjust legal system, we may get an attorney's degree. We may get licensed. We may do this. And this is all in preparation for the medicine, for the repair of the cruelty, the flaws in the system. And coming out of this revolution, we have pride, we have accomplishment, we have an awareness of how much I grew. We have a sense of who we are, distinct from the old pattern. If we've been successful in the rebellion rather than being co-opted into the system, we now have a sense of who we are, right? And it's worth noting that without the asymmetry, without the abuse, without the trauma, there's nothing to rebel against. No one rebels, and there's no basis to rebel against an ideal or a perfect life. There is no ideal or perfect life. And as a result, the imperfection, the abuse, the trauma in childhood gives rise to the focus, to the clarity within the adolescent. This has to change. I'm not doing this again. The pain becomes the seed for antipathy. That vision becomes the seed for maturity, for growth, for adulthood. And the last revolution is that of the deity, right? Moving beyond the adult. I hate this, I don't like that, but I've overcome it, I've grown, etc. The deity is moving into the state of acceptance, understanding, and love for what is, for what was, what is, and what will be. And here we have an interesting juxtaposition where the most painful areas of our life, just absolutely miserable targets of pain, are, of course, the hardest things to digest, the hardest things to accept, the hardest things to grow through, and the hardest things to open to. Now, the hardest thing, the most painful moment in our life is the gateway to the deity, the gateway to transcendence, the gateway to the divine. Why? Because in separating from, in walling off, numbing, blocking, running from, fighting, villainizing, the most painful moment of our lives, never wanting to face it again, we turn away from the doorway that reconnects us back to being all that is, to being connected to the great ecology, to transcending the I that identifies with a very limited part for a short period of time. So the doorway into the deity is feeling, facing, confronting, accepting, letting go, forgiving, giving it up. And now there's nothing left that separates us from life, from God, Goddess, all that is. Because when there's nothing left to fight, to hate, to dissociate from, there's just us and the larger ecology out of which we emerged. The greatest pain is the doorway to the deity. But not if it kills you, not for the infant. The infant has to fight, flail, desperately survive, and hopefully survives. The adolescent has to curse, rebel, plot against, clarify what's wrong with, in order to grow beyond. The adolescent, or the adult, has to move and become bigger than the wound, or one stays trapped in adolescence and childhood. And the adolescent has to give birth to an adult that feels adequate, that feels able to deal with reality as it is. And it is only from that position of being able to cope, being good enough, that we can then embark freely, as opposed to in a relationship of terrified child regressed, freely to face the dragon, to face the most painful area of our life, which is a fractal representation of the most painful area of the possibility field of all of life. And if we can face it as a friend, we are free. we can love ourself, we can love reality, we can find our place amongst the stars.